Hey everyone, I'm Colleen Campbell. Thanks for joining us for the CBS 19 Plus forecast, available on Amazon Fire Stick and Roku. We appreciate you watching online. Hey, it's Labor Day weekend. Hard to believe, right? And it's a busy weekend because, well, not only Labor Day, but also we have First Monday coming up for this Labor Day. So the weekend is chock full of events and we want some drier weather. Now, of course, it's Saturday evening by the time we're filming this. So we've already had a few showers for our Saturday and some stronger storms around the DFW Metroplex. But let's start off our model on Sunday to see what the rest of the weekend stretch brings and the holiday too. All right, going into our Sunday afternoon, this is around noon. You can see pretty quiet here. We may have some fog early Sunday morning. I do want to throw that out there. Light winds for tonight, plus all of this moisture and humidity and a little bit of drier air mixing in there means that fog is likely Sunday morning. But here we are now. You can see Sunday afternoon pretty quiet, but this is around 6, 7 o'clock at night. And you can see that a few storms look like they do want to drop in. We could get a good pour out of this. If not that, a few scattered showers. All right, let's progress forward into late Sunday night now. This is 11 o'clock and it looks like anything that we will have from that daytime heating will start to subside and we will have a quieter night ahead. And again, we could have some fog because the winds are going to be pretty light throughout our Sunday. Now we're moving into Labor Day, Monday. And again, we do have the opportunity to see a few scattered showers, maybe a downpour or two, but mainly during those peak heating hours between the hours of 3 o'clock to about 5 o'clock, which is where this model is paused at. We'll get those popping up, especially across deep East Texas where that stalled out frontal boundary is. And then things will start to quiet down once again for Monday evening, Monday night. All right, rainfall forecast over the next 3 days. You can see kind of a camouflage effect here. We do have some darker greens, some lighter greens, but if you look on this legend here, the darker green, that only goes up to about 1/4 of an inch of a reading. So we're really not expecting substantial rain. However, some localized spots, if they get a good juicy downpour, they could have a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. But again, it would be localized and very isolated. So that's our rainfall forecast going into the next 3 days. That would bring us to about Tuesday. Here's your rain chances, another way to look at it, but this is over the next week. You can see they are fairly low, 30% chance for Monday, Sunday and Monday. Monday, 20% chance. I might bump that up to a 30% chance. Tuesday, also a 30% chance, fairly low here when we're talking 20 to 30. Now, Wednesday, we do have a little disturbance moving through that could hike up our rain chances a little bit more, and it kind of stays that way to finish off our first week of September, first full week. All right, rainfall reports. Of course, we are in a new month, and we did a great job catching up for August as far as the rain goes, because if you remember this, I did show this around late July before we moved into August, and we were really struggling with rainfall amounts. Well, August, we got substantial rain, and the numbers here, the very important numbers, all numbers are important, but this is the 2022 average and how the deficit that we have been sitting in. And when we were showing this model a couple months back around July, we had some very high numbers. I know Lufkin was sitting about 11 inches below average. That's 11 inches in a deficit of how we should be for the total year. And that's 6 months into the year, right? So we had about 6 months to go at that point. Now here we are in September, and you can see these numbers are much lower, and that looks promising as we move towards December, which is only about 3-4 months away, and we get ready to close out the 2022 book. What I'm getting at here is we like to see only 5, 6, and 4 inches below average, because that's doable, right, in the next 3 to 4 months. If we could catch up those 3 to 4 inches, we'll be right on pace to how we normally are for those rainfall totals for the entire year. Going into September now, this is how much rain we've had so far in this first category here for the month of September. Of course, we're only 3 days in, but it looks like we're off to a good start compared to average here. Now, that number is a little bit off for Lufkin, and so just ignore that, but we're doing pretty well. All right, going into our Labor Day, what's the forecast bringing? Well, we did kind of go over this already, but it's going to be not so bad for grilling. Just be aware that you could run into a shower. If you do hear a rumble of thunder, of course, you want to take it inside. Remember, if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to get struck by lightning. You always want to be in a safe place if thunder or lightning is around. But I think most of us really don't have to worry about that. If anything, we will have some stubborn, lazy clouds hanging out for our Labor Day most of the day. And as I showed showed on Future Skycast at the start of the CBS 19 Plus forecast, we do have the opportunity to see some showers, maybe a downpour or two during those heating hours around 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And then after that, things will start to dwindle away and we'll have a quieter night ahead. All right, here's some positive news. The drought index has made major improvements. Again, this is something that we have been showing throughout the summer because we've really had extreme and exceptional levels of drought spreading across East Texas. Well, now we're kind of going back to where we were in April and May when we had all that rain, and now we're starting to see abnormally dry conditions for Smith County, Cherokee County, and northward of that, Upshur and Gregg County, that were under a severe level of drought at one time. And all this area gray, not even in a drought category right now. That's something we love to see. Now, if we go a little bit further out to the west around Anderson and Henderson County, you can see kind of an orange circle here. Those are the drier areas in East Texas, in our viewing area. You can see that they are under a severe level of drought. Basically category 2 because abnormally dry is just D0 or drought 0. So we don't really count that, but they are at that 2, 3 level right there on the screen. So we do have to get a little bit more rainfall in those areas, and it makes sense. Those are the areas that had a big problem with wildfires this summer because they were the areas that were under that extreme and exceptional drought category. So there are improvements there, but we do want to see those improvements continue. All right, tropical trends. It's been a very quiet tropical season for the Atlantic Basin. The Pacific Basin, that's completely different. They have had a little bit more activity, but here in the Atlantic Basin, we've been pretty quiet, and that includes the Gulf of Mexico too. Now we are entering into the peak season around September 10th. So remember, the season began on June 1st, and yes, it's been pretty quiet so far, but looking at trends over the last couple of years, you can see that the season usually peaks, meaning more activity around September 10th. And right now it's September 3rd. So we're entering into that peak, and that means we could get a little bit more active here. In fact, the last 24 to 48 hours, we had 2 storms form, and our first hurricane of the season, that was Danielle. Danielle formed into a Category 1 hurricane. We're going to look at Danielle's track in just a second. And also we have Tropical Storm Earl. So let's get into these tropical tracks. Tropical Storm Danielle, it did downgrade, weaken into a tropical system, but a tropical storm, excuse me, but it may strengthen once again. And this is a fish storm. What we mean about that is it's in the central Atlantic Basin. We don't really have to worry about it. It's not affecting us here. It's not affecting the East Coast. It's not affecting the Gulf Basin. So just be aware that it is in the central Atlantic. It could strengthen though and turn into a Category 1 hurricane once again. Then we have Tropical Storm Earl, and that is just east of the Virgin Islands and the Leeward Islands. And right now it is a tropical storm, but it may strengthen in that warm water to a Category 1 hurricane. Again, since this is moving out to the east in the Atlantic Basin, away from those islands, we're not really having any concern, especially here in Texas, but the east coast of the U.S. also don't have to worry about Earl either. All right, going into our Saturday night low temperatures into Sunday morning, lower 70s is how we're going to feel across Mount Pleasant and Pittsburgh. About the same for our central areas around Tyler, Jacksonville, Henderson, 73, 74 appropriate numbers. And then for deep East Texas, about the same, 72 to 73. Now we go into Sunday, and our temperatures will be in the lower 90s for our northern, central, and deep East Texas areas. So it will be a little bit sticky, but the temperature isn't so bad. We'll even have some upper 80s in those places, expecting to get the rain. All right, here's your 7-day forecast brought to you by Baylor Scott & White, Texas Spine and Joint Hospital. Stray PM showers for our Sunday and Monday too. That's for our Labor Day. And then Tuesday, I do have a sunny icon on there, but don't be fooled. We will have some cloudy times and a quick shower also possible. And then those rain chances start to hike up a bit for Wednesday and Thursday morning. Friday morning as well, we could have a few scattered showers, maybe a storm, and Saturday too. So we do have rain chances throughout the next several days, but the next 3 days, definitely not going to be a washout. Just be prepared during those peak heating hours. Thank you again for joining us for the CBS 19 Plus forecast, where we're available all the time online.